Hey there, welcome to Two Brothers Talk About Food and Movies. That is Anthony Arkin right there next to me.
It's Matthew Arkin over there. It's my brother.
We're brothers.
Right over there.
And we decided to do this silly thing because it's basically all we do when we're together is talk about food and movies.
Now there's nothing else to do, really, right now.
Right now, there is nothing else to do except packing.
Well, you have some news, right? Some stuff is kind of happening in your life right now.
I am packing up my apartment, putting everything into storage, and I'm driving cross country to be on the same coast as you. Because, cheers.
Cheers to that.
Because I don't have a lovely wife in the background doing dishes right now. I live alone, and I'm losing my mind. And our mom lives alone. So
she definitely needs the company, and you guys both have been through enough of this by yourselves. So
yeah,
it's really great.
So
your timing is terrible, of course, because now she's stuck up in Westchester with no power. And if you were there now, she'd have company. But you didn't do it. You didn't go early enough for that.
I spoke to her twice today, and she was huddled in the dark with her phone.
One thing after another. It's just been crazy.
I was trying to figure out if next week is the locusts or the plague of frogs. It's one or the other is next.
Something's been scheduled from the list, I know.
But on my trip, I'm excited because the first night I'm driving from Los Angeles, and my first stop is going to be in Winslow, Arizona, where I'll be standing on a corner.
There's probably some sights to see, I would imagine, while you're doing it.
And then the next night, I'm staying in Dodge City, Kansas, so that the next morning I can wake up and, right?
I don't know. Brush your teeth, get a bagel. They don't have bagels in Kansas.
Get out of Dodge.
Yes, get out of Dodge.
I'm going to get out the next morning. I'll get out of Dodge.
You ever been to Dodge?
I've never been to
Dodge City. I have never been there either.
I imagine there's an OK Corral museum or something. There's got to be, right?
I would bet there's a whole thing there.
I mean, the main street is something like Wyatt Boulevard or something. I think.
I bet there's a museum and a restaurant. And a theme park. I bet there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so that'll be fun.
Well, that'll be great.
Yeah, and
how long do you have before you have to head out the door?
We're putting everything into storage 2 weeks from today, and 2 weeks from tomorrow I hit the road.
All right.
I'm going to stop in St. Louis, Missouri, take a day off from driving, hang out with some friends there, and then 2 more days to New York.
Well, we miss you, and it'll be great to see you from 6 feet away, or at least see part of your face.
After my quarantine, because I have to do the 14-day quarantine locked in a room. I told Mom that I want a bell, like a little bell that I can ring when I want,
How'd that go over? Did that go over well? Did you respond well to that?
She laughed.
She can't wait. She's like, yes, come over. I can't wait to wait on you hand and feed and shove food under the door.
Yeah.
Laundry and all, yes.
Pizza and flounder. That's what she's going to serve me for the first week.
Flounder.
Just slide it under the door. Just right there. And so tonight, first I want to say, to everybody out there watching, please feel free to ask questions or leave comments in the chat while we're being ridiculous. Let us know who you are, where you're from, where you're watching from. And also, you can email us your favorite recipes, because every week we talk about some food that we made this week. So if you email us your recipes, if we like them, we might eat them, make them and eat them and talk about them on the show. Tonight, I've got a couple of things that I made this week that were kind of fun that I'll talk about later. And we're going to talk about The Firm.
That was the plan.
I watched it.
What's
I watched it. Yes,
you watched The Firm.
I watched The Firm.
I watched The Firm as well. I did my homework.
Okay, so why don't you give us a little orientation?
All right, well, okay, for those who don't know what The Firm is a thriller, kind of a low-key thriller with legal ramifications, I want to say, but it's not a legal thriller. This is an interesting thing I think we could discuss, but it's...
Well, yes, thank you for saying that it's not a legal thriller.
It's not. It's a thriller, and it's about lawyers and a law firm, but it's really not about the law.
In the places where it touches on the law, we will get into.
So, anyway, it's this 1993 very big, bold Hollywood kind of action thriller starring Tom Cruise. It's a Tom Cruise movie built for him based on a John Grisham novel. And for those who don't know or remember John Grisham, I don't even know if he's still writing. I guess he might be. He wrote, he was like the Stephen King of legal thrillers, right? Yeah. He wrote a lot of legal thrillers. Very, very big best-selling author. And this was one of many movies they made of his, out of his books. Maybe the most famous one, or the most famous director-actor combo. Turned this into a Sidney Pollack movie. Sidney Pollack, who directed Tootsie and Electric Horseman and 3 Days of the Condor and Out of Africa. A lot of great Hollywood movies. And the movie Havana, which our pop was in, our dad was in.
Yep.
And it's a cast, an amazing cast, great cast of actors in this movie.
Amazing.
Phenomenal cast of characters. I mean, just to give a rundown of the first people that will pop up when you look at this on IMDb, you've got Cruise, of course, Gene Triplehorn, who recently I think has done more TV stuff for HBO, but Gene Hackman, Hal Holbrook, Terry Kinney, Wilford Brimley, Ed Harris, Holly Hunter, David Strathairn, Gary Busey, Stephen Hill, Tobin Bell, Barbara Garrick, who we both know. And the list goes on. There are other recognizable people in here, including down the line. The amazing Margot Martindale. In a part that we will never see her play something this small again. I mean, this is a tiny part for her. And Paul Sorvino is in this movie. Yeah. And it's really quite a group of people. It has an amazing pedigree. It was written, the screenplay was written by none other than David Rabe, who is a very famous Broadway playwright, and Robert Towne, who's arguably the most famous screenwriter from the Hollywood, the 70s and early 80s. And a guy named David Raphael, whose work I am not familiar with, although he did work on 3 Days of the Condor and other movies that Sidney Pollack directed. Okay, so that's the rundown. It's a big, bold Hollywood extravaganza with stars and lovemaking and tropical locations and interesting places and a chase scene and all kinds of stuff. And it's not very spicy. Maybe it's I guess it's rated R, but for no discernible reason.
Well, I think it was rated R because maybe they thought more people would come see it if it was rated R.
Maybe so. So that's the rundown of the movie. Why did we pick this movie, Matthew?
I have not a clue.
Oh, you're blaming me on this one.
I'm not blaming you. No, I mean, I having seen it, I don't have a clue. Before I saw it, I had much more of a clue of why we picked it.
Well, it kind of fit into this idea of the 90s. It was the kind of like late 80s, 90s action-y movie that we hadn't seen in a while.
Yeah, no, and I have no criticism of the choice of this movie. I only have criticism after having watched it.
Of the thing.
I have lots of criticism now.
Okay, well, let's you want to give like a plot, just a basic plot synopsis, Matthew?
Okay.
And I know what type of movie it is, but what you know what?
Okay. Basic plot synopsis is Tom Cruise is graduating from Harvard Law School. He comes from a very, very, very modest background, which is hammered home to us time and time again as he goes on these interviews with these amazing law firms, but he only has one ill-fitting coat. He doesn't even have like a real suit. He has an ugly.
He's a waiter at a restaurant or something.
Yeah, he's a waiter at a restaurant. He barely has the right clothes. And yet he's clearly being courted by many, many firms with incredible offers. And there is one firm in Memphis that clearly really wants him. It's an old, what we used to call in law school, a white shoe firm, meaning it's very, hoity-toity.
Okay.
And they make him an offer well above what anybody else has made for him. And
which was, by the way, in the movie, an offer that doesn't date well by today's standards.
No, not a lot of money compared.
Very excited about amount of money that you're thinking for fancy lawyers.
Yeah,
doesn't sound right.
And he and his wife go down, drink triple horn. They go down there to meet everybody and be courted by them in Memphis, and they're wined and dined. And something's a little odd with the wife of one of the lawyers is talking to Gene Triplehorn about, well, the firm will allow you to have a job. And she's like, oh, really? Mm-hmm. So it's a little odd. Long and the short of it, he goes to work for them.
Spoilers coming up. We'd spoil it all, by the way. For those out there.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, we're going to spoil. This is for people who've seen the movie.
Yeah.
Somebody chimed in here that the R rating is perhaps Busey mentioning statutory rape.
That's actually a very good point.
And the scene with Holly Hunter under the desk.
Yeah. Which is implied stuff, of course, but
nothing that is visible.
Thank you for that shout out. That is my friend. Yeah. That's my friend Peter, who I owe a phone call to big time. I'm glad that Peter found a way of contacting me this way, because so far it's been a little bit tough on the phone.
So anyway, what it turns out is that the law firm is laundering money for the mob, and Tom Cruise feels very, very passionate about the oath that he took to preserve the law, and then the FBI approaches him obliquely in the person of Ed Harris and Paul Calderon, who's an amazing.
Obliquely, in fact, but he is approached.
Yeah, and things go badly. What's interesting is how incredibly passionate Tom Cruise is about his oath. One of them. And the other oath, not so much. Like, oh, there's a pretty girl on the beach. I'll have sex with her. Why not?
Okay. Yeah. Yes. That's ridiculous. That part is a little ridiculous. However, all right.
Yeah.
I don't want to play devil's advocate, because that's the movie I was kind of hoping this was going to turn into. I remember seeing this and being disappointed at the time in 1993 that there wasn't something supernaturally up with this law firm. When it turned out that it was mob connections, I remember going, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
It was silly to have thought that anything else would have been the case, but it's around this time where you're thinking this might be like a Rosemary's Baby thing, where there's something weird with this firm. What is it? And it turns out to be mob.
They're laundering money for the mob.
But what's the bigger problem? Overbilling, not keeping track of billable hours program.
Well, that's how Tom Cruise solves the problem, is by focusing on the overbilling. Couple of things. First of all, I do have to admit, the recruiting, there is recruiting and the firms do go after those big people, and they do wine and dine them a little bit. I think maybe not to the extent. I do have to say, my personal recruitment experience in law school was not reflected in this movie.
When did you go to law school? I forget the year.
I graduated in 1985. But then again, I graduated in, we refer to the portion of the class in which we graduated is, I say to everybody else, I graduated in that part that makes the top 90% possible.
You did your share.
I did not want to really be in law school. And sort of at the beginning of law school, I thought to myself, I need to graduate and I need to pass the bar exam. And then, you know what they call somebody who graduates last in his class from law school?
No.
A lawyer.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
yes.
Same thing with doctors, right?
You're still a doctor.
I'm still a lawyer. But
you're still a lawyer even today, even in another state that you don't practice law.
I can't practice law in California. I'm not licensed in California. I'm only a member of the New York State Bar.
So
now here's the thing, though. They go through all of this stuff about all this stuff about studying for the bar exam. Couple of things. A lot of people pass the bar exam the first time. I mean, other than JFK Jr., a lot of people pass. It's not like you're a genius I passed the bar exam the first time. Also, the bar exam that he passed the first time, let's remember, I'm sorry, but it was the Tennessee bar exam. I'm just saying, there are different bar exams.
Okay.
And nobody says, oh my God, the Tennessee bar exam.
Is it as hard as a cognitive test?
It's harder than a cognitive test. It's harder than person, woman, man.
Harder even than a cognitive test.
Yes. But it's not the California bar, which is notoriously, the ones that are notoriously difficult, California, New York, Florida.
Okay.
Because that's where people want to live and practice.
So you just said that you didn't do well, but you passed in one of the hardest places on the planet to pass. So you did pretty good.
Because I knew that's the test I really have to study for. Okay. But let's just go and we'll get it out of the way. The law in the movie.
Please.
Let's just get it out of the way.
Well, there's not a lot to discuss. Well,
the big problem that Tom Cruise has when the FBI approaches him, the reason he
played by a very bald Ed Harris, totally bald Ed Harris.
Watch yourself with the very bald. Okay, just
bolder than you in this movie. He went really bald, and his partner is wonderful, Paul Calderon, who doesn't have nearly enough to do in this movie at all.
No, but he's fantastic on Bosch right now. He's a series regular on the series Bosch on. So Tom Cruise's big problem when the FBI approaches him is that I can't turn over information to you on what the firm is doing with the mob that would violate attorney-client privilege. Bah! Wrong.
That's not true. Okay.
If the mob committed a crime and then came to the law firm and said, we're being investigated for a crime we may or may not have committed, or we're being prosecuted, please defend us, then everything is attorney-client privilege. But if the mob comes to an attorney and says, hi, we want your help breaking the law, let's enter into a criminal conspiracy together.
That doesn't give you privilege.
There's something called the crime fraud exception to
privilege. Friend, it doesn't even need a name. That's clearly wrong.
Yeah.
It's just poorly wrong.
They named it. There are Supreme Court cases about it. And Tom Cruise is more than free to spill the beans to the FBI. But here's what pisses me off. So that is readily, you can find that out readily with 5 minutes of research. And as a writer, then you say, okay, well, plot problem. Then why doesn't he do, why is the movie not over when the FBI approaches him? Why does he just not go, okay, here's the information? Clearly there needs to be some obstacle to him doing that. And there's a very simple obstacle. There's a very simple solution to
his own intelligence. He is a terrible lawyer.
Well, yes, but the bigger thing is, I'm not going to do this because the mafia will be after me for the rest of my life and kill me, and I don't want that to happen.
Okay.
And that solves the plot problem.
Yeah.
So that's just lazy writing as far as I'm concerned.
He's incredibly, he's actually, I think, so easily manipulated by that firm because he's really not very smart. He's really not smart. And I'll prove it to you. There's two things that is not smart right out of the gate.
Okay.
He knows everything about he's like the Spider-Man of lawyers, law students.
Yes. Okay? Yeah.
But he doesn't know that this very, very, very old, rich Tony law firm of the Southern gentry is corrupt. That is something that everybody would be able to suss out immediately by just looking at the client roster. So he's the stupidest person in the world. That's number one. Okay. Number two, there's something in the script. Okay, when two writers as talented as David Rabe and that other hack who wrote this, they are great writers, but I'm sorry, there's something that is so, I wanted to pull my eyes out of my own head. In the beginning of the movie, he has the interview with the firm that hires him, the corrupt firm.
Right.
And it's it's all the character actors you'd expect in the room. Tough old codgers.
Jerry Harden. Oh my God.
Giving him the business and seeing if he's got the goods to be a lawyer at their firm. And they say, we want to make you an offer. And they give him an envelope with an offer in it for how much a year he's going to make. And he's about to open it like a schmucko in the room with them, right? And he's like, should I open this here? And you're like, no. If somebody gives you money in an envelope, you open it in your hotel room. It's embarrassing. But anyway, he says, should I open it here? And who is it? Who's he talking to at that point? He's talking to Hal Holbrook. Thank you. Hal Holbrook says, well, any lawyer good enough for us to hire ought to know what's in that envelope before he opens it, right?
Yeah.
You know the scene I'm talking about. And so Tom Cruise takes a moment, and then he decides that what he's going to do is deduce through legal genius and expertise what would be in this envelope. So he starts to cross-examine the gentleman in the room, and he says, you are witness, and he starts he turns it into like a courtroom, man.
Courtroom drama there.
Entertaining. And then he says, he finally grills the guy, and he says, how much did how did you know what to do? And he says, well, I called all the legal people I knew and found out the offers that they made, which wouldn't happen.
They bribed, they did it illicitly.
Yeah, but I don't even think that they'd be able to get that information should they bribe somebody. I don't think that information is public for anybody. And then
what they said was they went to the placement office and got
Okay. But my point being, he says what it was is that I added 20. It was that, and then I added 20%. And he's like, aha! Still doesn't know how much is in that freaking envelope.
Yeah.
Didn't answer the question.
Right.
Doesn't have a clue because he doesn't know. He knows it's 20% more than somebody else said. That's all he knows.
Right. No, because he knows what the other offers were that he got.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Still an idiot because he doesn't know those people are completely corrupt.
But they were corrupt in the way they did it. Here's a question. Should we allow for nephews of producers who were brought in for uncredited rewrites?
No, because anybody that has the gall to take exclusive credits should take exclusive blames.
Yeah.
That's
You put your name on it, you take the rep.
Done. That's it. You got that. Yeah. You got that paycheck, and you asked to be associated with that. You own it.
You go down. You go down with the ship.
I don't want to come out really, really too aggressively, though. I want to modulate this a little bit.
I think, Tony, I think that ship has sailed.
I want to modulate this a little bit, though, because
I think the train has left the station.
I think that this is again a really fun watch of a movie. This is an extremely entertaining experience. Part of that was a revisit of a time period in my life and in the olden days that's always fun to look at again. Really interesting to watch Cruise still trying to earn his Captain America like stripes, you know, like he was on top, but he was still kind of creating that for himself. So he's working really hard. Sidney Pollack, he is so good at crafting movies. Yeah. That it is like, some of it's like just of that time period, kind of like heaven. And then it goes off the road so hard. It's really hard to maintain the level of love for it that I initially wanted to have.
But you mentioned, so you have some Sidney Pollack stories, right? Because I never met him. I don't think, didn't get to know him at all.
Yeah,
you were around for Havana.
Yeah, I met him. I got to hang out with him a little bit when Dad was doing Havana. And
was he mentory at all? Was he like?
Not to me, but he was really, he was one of the nicer. He treated me as well as anybody like in Hollywood in that kind of a situation treated me. He was really nice. Some people are weird about having people hanging out on the set or watching takes or being there. And I was there for a while. And he was very welcoming and extremely nice to me. He didn't treat me like, a hanger on. He didn't have to treat me well at all. The kind of guy that I actually got invited to go to a cool Hollywood party around that same time. I didn't usually get invited to those parties, but I got to go to the premiere. I think it was the premiere of Presumed Innocent, which is a movie we should do.
Yes.
Because I haven't seen it since then. But he was a producer on that, I think. And I got invited through Dad somehow. I don't know, but I didn't have a date to go to this movie. So I went alone. It's always weird kind of going by yourself to things. And there was lots of stars everywhere, and everybody was very much into themselves, and it's fine. It's not my night. But Pollack saw me across the room, standing at the bar by myself, and he came over specifically just to say hi and see if I liked the movie and hope I was having a decent time, and but actually meant it. Was really genuinely nice. Super nice guy. And I'm also such a fan of some of his movies. A few of his movies I just love. So I have a lot of affection for him and his style and everything. I think my thing is Grisham, maybe. I feel like the biggest problem with this came from Grisham. Am I wrong?
I read the book, but I don't remember it well enough to know if the book solved some of the problems that are in the film script.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't remember the book well enough to lay it at his feet.
Right.
I do remember reading the Pelican Brief and liking that one.
Right. I've never read any Grisham books, so you've read some and you liked enough of it to.
Well, I liked them, but I didn't like them enough to read everything he wrote. And me. When I like somebody, I read. I mean, I've read almost every single thing that Lawrence Block ever wrote. I read all of the Travis McGee's. I read all of the John Sanfords. I read all of the Leach. You know, when I like an author, I devour them. So at some point, he must have lost me.
Right.
So, but I want to talk also about there's one thing that really helped the movie, I think, which is Dave Grusin's work.
Okay.
Because I noticed like that we're in Boston and he brings us to Memphis before we even get to Memphis with the music, right?
Yeah.
That the whole Southern, that bluesy Southern thing all comes in while we're still in Boston.
It's true. And I think if I'm not wrong, it's almost exclusively solo piano.
Yeah.
If that's not, maybe that's all it is. And there's some songs in it, but
yeah.
I have mixed feelings about this. I'm a big Dave Grusin fan. We've met him. He's another person from this movie we met. He was a neighbor of Dad's when he lived in New Mexico for a while, so we had dinner with him.
Well, and he did arguably the score for The Heart Is the Lonely Hunter is one of the best scores I've ever heard.
I forgot that Grusin did that score. I totally forgot.
That is I mean, to this day, I cannot listen to The Heart Is the Lonely theme song, Heart Is the Lonely Hunter theme song without crying.
Well, I can't either, but I thought that was.
You thought that was
for other reasons.
Yeah.
I love Dave Grusin and I love part of this, but I have to say, some of it got really it just got to be stompy, repetitive piano music after a while. I was like, please, can we have a guitar? Can we have some drums? Something else? I mean, he did get nominated, I think, for an Oscar for this score. As did, oddly, I think, Holly Hunter got nominated, not for the score, but for her acting work. She's in 6 minutes of this movie, I think, and got nominated.
Yeah, I mean, I think the 6 minutes that she has are dynamite, but I don't get the nomination.
I don't get Oscar nom from it, but
there's one moment that I get Oscar nom from. One line that she has.
That's not even my best feature.
Yeah.
That's
a great moment.
She's great. I'm just like, did anything in this movie should get Oscars? I don't know. You know, Wilford Brimley's mustache needs to get an Oscar. It's been needing one for a long time, and he recently passed away, which is tragic, and I think it should be recognized.
Great Wilford Brimley story, not mine. Don't know him, never met the guy, but I have a gaggle of friends that gets together every Monday night for bourbon. The Bourbon Brothers on Monday night. And
is gaggle a bourbon word? Is that a
what?
Gaggle.
Gaggle is the bourbon word. Yeah. A gaggle of bourbon bros. And one of the fellows told a story about Wilford. We were talking about actors who were difficult with directors. Mm-hmm. And one of the guys, remembering Wilford Brimley and that he had just passed, and we were raising a glass to him, told a story about Wilford Brimley and a director giving Wilford Brimley a note, and Wilford Brimley saying, no, don't tell me how to play this guy. I'm the guy. I'm the guy. So just you don't have to tell me.
That's great. Love Wilford Brimley.
Yeah.
Love him. A little funny.
My favorite line in the movie.
Let's talk about your favorite. Let's see, because I have a favorite line in the movie. I'd love to hear what your favorite line in the movie is.
Well, my favorite line in a good way, like what I think is like the best writing in the whole movie.
Yeah.
The line where he says, if somebody says to him, "You're being suspicious about nothing," and he says, somebody says, "You got nothing to be suspicious about," and he says, "I get paid to be suspicious when I got nothing to be suspicious about."
Yeah. That's a good line. You want to know my favorite line in the movie?
Yeah, I do.
My favorite line in the movie is it comes from the fabulous Gene Triplehorn, who says in a moment with Tom Cruise, when she's despairing about what are they going to do, they may have to go into the witness relocation program because the mob is after them and the firm is after them and the FBI is after them and everybody's going after them, and it's bad. It's going really bad.
Yeah.
He's moping and sad, and he's had an affair at this point, so he really doesn't like him.
Here it comes.
And she says the line, and I want to know who wrote this. I want to know which one of these guys has the gall to say they wrote this.
Okay.
Szechuan beef from Long Boys. That's the last time I remember laughing.
And curtain.
Yeah. That comes in at exactly an hour and 10 minutes into the film. I stopped the movie. I looked at Amelia and I said, "What's happened? Where are we? What's going on?" Szechuan beef from Long Boys. That's the last time I remember laughing.
First of all,
we didn't see that scene.
No, we didn't see that. Well, no, the opening of the movie when she comes home and he's got the table set up for the celebration.
Mm-hmm. Because but that's not true, because we saw her laugh several times since then. That's actually not true.
It's not true. And the other thing is that if the Chinese food is making you laugh, I don't laugh at good Chinese food.
No, there's nothing to laugh about. It's serious.
Chinese food is very serious.
You don't laugh at that.
No, I do not laugh.
Not at all. Anyway, I thought that was pretty great.
Did you notice? A couple of little things. I want to talk about some little things and some subtext that I liked.
Great.
If you want to. This was kind of funny. I'm sure somebody had a laugh. I mean, not funny, haha, but I'm sure somebody making the movie had a laugh at it. When Gene Hackman goes to get the what's the name of the rum in the movie? Havana Gold, which apparently is a rum you can't get in the States. I'd never heard of it before I looked it up. It's supposed to be quite good. And he goes to get it for Gene Triplehorn.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know the song that's playing? When he does that, you hear the lyrics, and the song is "Blame It on the Rum."
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know the song, but that's the lyrics of the song that's playing in the bar when he goes to get the rum. The song says, "Blame it on the rum."
This is a well thought through movie. This is that
was really amazing. But the flipping, doing the gymnastics flips with the kid.
We have to talk about this because
it's
I don't know.
And so he's doing that, and it shows whatever.
We gotta say what this is. People are listening. Hopefully, a couple people need to know. Yeah. He just got the job. And this is like so far like an uplifting drama, happy drama about a guy getting a great part in a great job at a law firm.
Yeah.
And he has to move his family, which is right now just his beautiful wife, down to Memphis, where the law firm is, from Boston. And they go down there, and it's their first night on the town. They've got their new house and his new car, and the firm has bought them everything. And then they're walking down the street after dinner, which might have been Szechuan beef at Long Boys. I don't know. And it's Terry Kinney, I think, and
Barbara Garrick.
Barbara Garrick, and they're walking down the street. And Peter says Havana Gold is Cuban and now available in the U.S.
That is good to know. I'm going to go get a bottle.
And he sees like a little kid, like a 10-year-old boy who's, I guess, tap dancing or doing something.
Yeah, he's got his hat out and he's doing some gymnastics.
And Tom Cruise sees him. They don't know each other. He sees this kid and runs down the street and does like a sprint and what do you call that? Like a gainer, a half gainer?
Yeah, a series of flips
in the air, midair, landing on his feet. And then he kind of like looks at the kid and he kind of ruffles his hair and he's like, and he walks on. Weird as hell when it happens. Weird. Like why is this going on at all?
Because we need it later.
Well, yes, it comes in later, but
it lets us know that he's aside from being okay. First of all, you are not in that kind of shape after 3 years of law school.
Yeah,
I testify to this.
Right.
But the next time we see the flipping kid, Tom Cruise is down in the dumps and walks by him and doesn't even notice him.
Yeah, this is again putting cinematic language back like 500 years. This is, yeah.
But then it also explains his background in gymnastics, how he is able to jump up when he's trapped in the basement and there's just a little window, how he's able to jump up, grab that pipe, and repeatedly kick the window out. Only somebody with a gymnastics background could do that.
But I totally disagree. This doesn't explain anything. It doesn't show he has a gymnastics background. I'm still left going, why can he do that? I don't know, because in the beginning of the movie, by the way, I think it's safe to say there's something Tom Cruise can't do. Tom Cruise can't play basketball. Because if he could, they would have shown him play basketball in the beginning of this movie.
Right.
Sidney Pollack brought one of the biggest stars in America to a basketball stadium and had a whole film crew go down there to shoot a basketball practice game. The people working out playing basketball. There were 10 actors in that scene. There was a 35 millimeter camera with lights, and trucks came and catering. And the only shot of Tom Cruise is him going, oh man, like he missed a shot, which we never saw him, you know, do or not. So I think it's safe to assume that Tom Cruise couldn't hit a basket to save his life. He couldn't make one to save his life.
Well, you're a cruel man.
Well, I'm just trying to be truthful.
Okay. All right. Well, how about this for subtext? What saves Tom Cruise's life in the battle with Wilford Brimley?
His pointy wingtip shoes.
His briefcase. He
kicks him to death with his feet.
But before that, he's
shot by somebody before that.
He beats him with his briefcase.
I think that you're reading too much into it.
No, it's briefcase, the law versus gun. And he beats him with his briefcase.
Okay. What does any of that? What does this prove, though? It proves that any of this being in a movie, being thought out, being smart, doesn't matter. It can still be bad.
It can still be really bad.
I mean, I'm not saying really bad, because I hate saying that about anything. I know how hard movies are to make. I know that they're difficult. We have
Here's a great point. This is a great point somebody is making.
Thank you, Pat. That is a great point. That is an absolutely great point.
He ruffles the kid's head.
He's very patronizing. He's patronizing. He like ruffles the kid's hair, but it's all about him. I can do it. And the kid's like, thank you for stealing my show, for stealing everything and not paying, not even tipping me.
Yeah.
It's true. It's disgusting. What's your favorite thing in the movie? What's the best? Okay, let's put it this way. What's the best thing in the movie?
Holly Hunter.
You're wrong.
This
is the best thing in the movie. I'm going to show you. Where is it? Oh, I can't show you.
I also absolutely love oh shoot, what's his name?
Terry Kinney.
No, the major bad guy.
Tobin Bell.
Yeah.
Scary as hell. He's terrifying.
Yeah.
I said to Amelia when he was chasing Tom in a pretty good chase scene. That's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
where I said to Amelia, I said, he's about the last guy I'd want after me, right? He was terrifying.
Yeah. But what's the best thing in the movie?
I'm going to show you. If you just give me a second. I'm sorry.
You're fighting
the best thing in the movie?
Yeah.
That face.
Okay, hold on. It's not.
That face is the best thing in the movie, I think. I was laughing so hard at this face. It's brilliant.
But you know what's a shame is that Joe Vitarelli, who plays his brother, the other Maralto brother, is spectacular.
The one next to him on the couch?
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
He's terrific. Jerry Weintraub as the other mob guy, the first guy, the businessman that he meets, spectacular.
Weintraub was amazing. That's a fun thing to talk about because Weintraub produced the movie, The Firm.
Yeah.
And he's got a scene or two. He's got one scene in it.
One scene, and he's amazing.
He plays like a Chicago mob boss, I guess.
Yeah.
Living down in the Cayman Islands. And he's fantastic. And he really that so reminds me of Sidney Pollack, because Sidney Pollack is a director who also acts in movies once in a while and is sometimes the best thing in the movie as an actor. He's also fantastic.
Or Gary Marshall has done stuff like Gary Marshall in Lost in America. Just a spectacular performance.
Him trying to explain why the giveaway money scheme isn't good.
That's why they call it gambling. Las Vegas gambling.
So good. I find it interesting casting. Wilford Brimley as the scary head of security. I found that different, maybe on purpose, supposed to be kind of funny. He wasn't scary. Like, I don't find him coming after me to be scary. Tobin Bell is scary coming after you, but not Wilford Brimley.
No.
Not a threatening presence, but maybe that was on purpose. I don't know.
Karina Lombard, the girl on the beach.
Yeah.
You know where we've seen her recently.
Recently?
You and I have seen her recently.
I can't remember where we saw her recently.
Last Man Standing.
Good Lord, you're right. That is so weird, right?
Yep.
This is turning into a festival, a film festival.
The Karina Lombard, and she kind of deserves a film festival.
She's lovely,
but she is lovely. And yet, on the beach in the Cayman Islands, like he's away from his wife for one night, and he cheats, meeting somebody in 10 seconds.
It didn't make a whole lot of sense. And they weren't even in like some big breakup fight when he left or anything. It was, like a normal weekend.
No, they don't set up at all why he would do that.
No, or why she would forgive him even as much as she does.
Yeah, right. At the end, it's like, I love you because you're you.
There are other unanswered questions. Where is she running when she runs out of the house? That it is an inadvertently funny moment, I think, when she hears that bad news and she runs out of the house and keeps running, and he runs after her so hard. It's like
he runs after. What I didn't love is that she runs out of the house. He runs after her. He's running 5 times faster than she is.
Can't catch up with her though.
And yet has a hard time catching up to her.
Can't do it.
Okay. Can we get to just pet peeves in movies?
We can, but I have one giant, huge flaw in this one.
Oh, okay.
I'd like to mention.
Please.
This movie hinges on one plot point that really doesn't make any sense. And I went back and I looked at it. Something was probably cut out of this movie, but they are able to figure out who the two bad guys are, Tobin Bell, the two and his henchman, sidekick. There's two guys that go around assassinating people.
Right.
One of the people they kill is the wonderful Gary Busey.
Yes.
A little amazing in this. Maybe a little bit big in this, but I love him. I just love him. And it's this, they come into the office and they kill him, and she has Holly Hunter plays his secretary and love interest, and she has slipped under the desk to be amorous in some fashion. And it's a family show. The guys come in.
This is not a family show.
It is for me. I have family here.
Yeah.
So two killers come in, and she's completely under the desk, and there's a shootout, and Gary Busey gets killed, and she later then identifies the two killers, but she never sees them. She does not actually see them because she's hiding under the desk the entire time. And when you look at it again, you realize they make a big point of there being a bullet hole shot through the desk because Gary Busey shoots the gun
under the desk.
Gun taped under his desk.
Yeah.
And the camera shoots to a reverse of the desk and starts to pull back on the dead Gary Busey, and you see the bullet hole in the desk. But she doesn't look through that bullet hole. She never sees them.
She must have looked through the bullet hole. We just didn't see it happen. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe when you're making a movie, you should let us see the things that happen.
But actually, it could. You see her next to the bullet hole. They leave. It literally doesn't happen. Like they could have cut it out, but it just doesn't. So I found that to be. Do
the two guys, after they shoot Gary Busey, do they describe each other out loud to each other, and maybe she overhears that?
Yeah, she hears. Yeah, they're like, "Hey, how you doing, a middle-aged short white guy with a knee exploded knee? How are you?" So Amelia caught that. She caught that totally. I miss things like that, but Amelia caught that, and I was like, you're right. That doesn't make any sense. Terry Kinney, love Terry Kinney in this movie.
He's great.
Great scene. There's a great scene when he, right after they find out that the two lawyers are killed or die in that boating accident that turns out not to be an accident, and Terry Kinney knows, you think, what's going on. There's that real scene with him and Tom Cruise where he's sitting and the sprinklers have gone on, and he's just sitting in the lawn chair outside, and he doesn't notice that the sprinklers are actually now like spraying over his legs, and he's just sitting here, and they just keep on like spraying his shoes, and the camera just pulls down to his feet, and that's a really good scene. I remembered that scene vividly from the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
It also starts with this really cool shot too that reminded me about storytelling in camera. You were asking about things I noticed, and I noticed this. They talk about the boat explosion. There was an explosion on the boat.
Right.
And the next thing they cut to is a shot of Terry Kinney, and a medium shot. We're floating towards him. He's in the chair. They've got a grill going, but we don't see it. It's out of frame. All we see is the smoke from the grill pouring over the side of the frame. So right after we hear about the explosion, we cut to him thinking about it. And as we're pulling in, there's smoke and stuff, and it looks like he's on fire, like there's a fire somewhere. So
interesting.
A fire that's in his mind. Kind of nerdy for me to notice and talk about, but I thought I'd mention it because that was very elegant. I really liked how they did that whole sequence.
Well, okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't catch that. All right, if I can just go back to being nitpicky and petty, because
I like you best when you're being petty, sir.
The very first thing that Tom Cruise has to ultra top secret copy is the Articles of Incorporation, which are public documents on file at the State Department office that anybody can see.
And they have to be that way. That's right. That's supposed to be. Yeah.
They're public documents.
That is funny.
Oh, no, I better hide them under my coat and bring them to the copy room.
That's really good.
This has nothing to do with the law. This is a theme for me over and over again in television shows and movies. Is there something, are you not allowed into Screen Actors Guild unless you do not know how to use a chef's knife to chop vegetables? Because I am so sick of seeing people making dinner and they have a tomato and a paring knife and they're going like this. Nobody knows how to cook dinner.
Matthew, you very well know that the only thing actors know about food is what they can shove into their pockets at a buffet line.
There's one great chopping vegetable scene that I'm aware of in the history of movie.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers remake with Donald Sutherland.
Is there a good chopping of the vegetable?
He makes a stir fry that's absolutely fantastic.
Oh, okay. So now there's two. I'm thinking of the terrific scene in The Long Kiss Goodnight with Gina Davis and Samuel
R. Bronkowitz?
No. Pulp Fiction.
Oh, Samuel Jackson.
Samuel Jackson. You know The Long Kiss Goodnight?
I can't say that I remember it. I saw it, but it was a long time ago.
Terrifically fun spy thriller. Really fun. And there's a scene in it where the beginning of the movie is Gina Davis is a school teacher in a small town, married with a kid, very happy. But she was found 8 years ago on the side of a road, or 10 years ago on the side of the road, head injury, amnesia, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now
she's so happy about it.
Well, because she has this wonderful life, happily married, blah, 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 but she has no recollection of her life before this waking up on the side of this road. And she's making dinner with her husband and daughter one night, and she's chopping some vegetables badly, and she cuts her finger, and she sees the blood, and she starts chopping the vegetables again, and suddenly she's really, really good at chopping the vegetables. And she says to her husband, honey, look at this. And she's like just chopping them and she's like, oh my God, I was a chef. And they have this great scene of them throwing her vegetables, and she's chopping them and doing all this stuff and then balancing the knife on her finger. And then she takes the knife and she whips it across the room and it sticks into the wall. And and her husband and daughter look at her and she goes, chefs do that. But we know chefs don't do that. And there's some other reason why she's so that nicking her finger and seeing the blood awakened some.
So she was a super spy. She
was a super assassin.
Something, yes.
Yeah.
Long Kiss Goodnight. We should see that.
Yeah, that's a really fun movie. And Samuel Jackson is dynamite in it.
Because it would be that or Cutthroat Island, I think, would be the only ones after that.
Cutthroat Island?
Gina Davis movies, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, isn't she in Beetlejuice?
She's in a lot of great movies, but none of the ones that we don't want to see the great ones. We want to see the ones that nobody talks about anymore.
In Transylvania 65000.
Absolutely. See, nobody talks about that one.
Nobody talks about that. Somebody is mentioning here, Big Night, great food.
Big Night, great food movie. It is indeed one of the great food movies.
And
a typical food movie. Babette's Feast, pretty good. But the food doesn't look very tasty in Babette's Feast. Weird.
Timpano is something that I really want to make someday. That dish that they make in Big Night.
Oh, yeah. Right. So, I don't know. Long Kiss, Bourne Movies meets Desperate Housewives. Yeah. Again, I have to see that one again. You're much more into the spy genre than me, so it's not a surprise I haven't seen it.
Love those.
What did you make?
What did I make? Well, I've been watching a spectacular show, which I'm actually going to finish tonight. I'm going to finish the 3rd season tonight. There are only 4 seasons of it, but the 4th season is on something that I don't. It's a British show called Unforgotten.
You've mentioned the show, yes.
Just spectacular. And 2 of the cops on it, one of them is saying, what did you have for lunch? And she says, an egg and cress. And the other one says, oh, I hate egg and cress. And I'm like, egg and cress? What's egg and cress? I had no idea what egg and cress was. So this is an egg and cress.
Oh, I see.
So it's an egg salad and white bread. Maybe I used regular butter. You can use an herb butter.
And what kind of white bread? Like, are we talking like potato bread or just a plain, like what kind of white?
This white was a country sourdough. Buttermilk white bread.
Okay.
Lightly toasted. And I made a mistake, though, because I didn't read. Apparently, you're supposed to chop up the watercress when you then put it in the sandwich. I put just the whole water. That's why it's bulging out of the sides unattractively. Yes. Well, but it was actually, and it was good, but it wasn't as good as all of the recipes I was reading online talked about. And the recipes I was reading online talked about how this is such an amazing sandwich. And then what I realized that what they were talking about is something called mustard cress, which is different than watercress. I think it's spicier, and I don't know where you find it in the United States, but I'm going to try and find it and make this again because it was good. But then I made something else. Do we need to talk about the egg and cress? Do you have any other?
Well, I'm curious about how you feel about, because it's a very attractive looking sandwich. It's almost a sexy sandwich. It's a very like sleek, sandwich.
I would make it again if I was having a lady over for lunch, trying to court her and be impressive for a nice little summer picnicky thing. I might do.
All the ladies that I know demand to have crust on their bread. I don't know one lady that see, that's the thing about these sandwiches I find strange and I can't get behind, because it's the crustless bread. I don't know why that's a good thing.
It's the British tea sandwich.
But is it because it's easier to eat? You don't get hung up on the chewy side of that crusty bread, and you don't embarrass yourself?
I don't know. Maybe we should research that and talk about it next week.
If anybody out there listening knows the reason why crustless sandwiches are popular at all, or have ever been at any time, anywhere, I'd be interested.
Your friend Maple Dragon is a smart dude.
He is indeed. He is from Wales, though, and so I don't know.
He's from Wales.
Yeah, but he's not. I don't think that's something that is popular in Wales. But yes, as in common, I was right. So, I'm interested. I don't know that I think that I don't feel good about you going on a search for this sandwich. I personally want to help you. I want to sit you down and see if you're okay when you tell me that you're going to look for ingredients for this sandwich. I think this is a scream for help.
You think I
think you need help? You're asking for help, and I don't know what.
Pandemic. I need things to do.
But this is you're putting your energies into the wrong place. There's not enough nutrients in this sandwich to keep you going. American sandwiches are delicious but structurally unsound. Yeah. You got to be creative about how you approach the sandwich. I don't know. The structure can be important. This to me is a cop out, though.
Here we go. This is why the crusts are gone, because they're to be nibbled politely at gatherings.
And the crust hangs that up. The crust is too hard to chew through, so you end up having to rip it and tear it, which is improper etiquette.
And somebody else, apropos, is telling us that the crust is thought to be more of a party sandwich.
I guess so. Does it just imply you've put more work into it and slaved over it longer? I think that might be it too. That it seems to pretend to show you've thought more about the sandwich, but I don't
care enough about you to cut one of the best parts of the bread off of
away from this sandwich. So interesting. I would definitely try this. I wouldn't necessarily, scour town to find the right watercress. So I just be careful, man. Don't let this get to you too much.
All right. I've got it apparently. That it's done to show that you care. Is that what I said?
No.
I said many things. I'm not sure which one of them was right.
I think he's saying that you just got what it takes.
Okay. I want to meet this friend of yours. I think he's a genius.
There's no wrong on this show. Everybody's really smart. Everybody's saying the right things.
I do want to make sure everybody knows that if you go to MatthewArkinStudio.com and subscribe to my newsletter, there's a link in the description for this video that if you subscribe through that link, you will get access to the private Two Brothers Talk About Food and Movies recipe page, where we post the recipes for everything we talk about on the show, including, should I show the other thing that I made?
Yeah, I think you should.
I think you'll approve of this more in terms of it being a we're being told not to eat white bread.
Why?
Why shouldn't we eat white bread? I mean, I know it's because it's deadly, but other than that, why?
I still don't understand. What?
But here, you'll approve of this more, I think. This is a Philly cheesesteak stuffed red pepper.
Wow.
So you slice flank steak against the grain here, and then you cut your red peppers in half and you lay a piece of provolone inside. You grill some onions and you grill the steak in a frying pan. Brown it in a frying pan and a little olive oil, then set it aside. Saute onions and mushrooms, some thyme, oregano, sage, any other spices you want in there, a lot of salt and pepper, till that just melts down into that onion mushroom mush. And then add the steak back in, add some tomato paste, some red wine, some Worcestershire sauce, and let that cook till it's almost completely gone. A nice thick sauce over the steak and vegetables. Put them into, then stuff the red peppers with that over that slice of provolone. Put it in a baking dish into the oven at 400 degrees for about 20 minutes. Then put another slice of provolone over the top and let it cook for another 15 minutes or so. And it's really tasty.
That really looks great. Wow. Yeah, I can see what you mean, that stuffed peppers with rice and vegetables after this is like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
This is cutting right to the chase.
Yeah. It was good.
That's fantastic.
It was really good. I do like the other one though, with the rice and meat mixture in there.
Yeah.
Sort of a goulashy
I like it too, but to me that looks like that would ruin it for you. That this would be like, why am I having this if I could just have it stuffed with cheese and meat?
Well, basically anything stuffed with cheese and meat is going to be better.
It's going to be better.
Yeah.
That's impressive and a wide array of things. I didn't mean to sound negative about the sandwich. I just felt that anymore.
No, I have to tell you, the sandwich was being told not to eat white bread because of white flour, and that bread in general is tough on the body, even whole wheat bread. But it's in the Bible. It's the staff of life.
Apropos, I hear you, but the horrible things I do to my body on a regular basis, the white bread is like the best thing I do. So I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
It's the healthiest option I have right
like now. On the dating apps, if I'm on a dating app, which I'll admit, it's hard to meet people. I teach at a college. I meet 20-year-olds and married people.
You don't meet age-appropriate people or,
And
they happen to live in your apartment right now. You're not meeting any of them.
Not meeting anybody. And basically, on the dating apps, it's all I see. It's like every profile I see is traveling dogs. And I'm like, okay, left.
Right.
And the other thing I see is like any dietary restriction.
Right.
Left.
So the person could be like murder and Fruit Loops, and you'd be like, Fruit Loops, at least I'm in.
But gluten intolerant. I don't eat onions. I'm pescatarian. I'm left.
Yeah.
You know why that is for me. Partly, I think, right?
You're cold and heartless, and it's very selfish.
No, because where do I go to have the most fun in my life? My weekends with Bruce and Tracy.
Yeah, well, it's always a food-related thing. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
I'm just ribbing you, of course.
If I can't share, no.
Food is too important for you I mean, the other thing is that I find Amelia has some food differences for me. We don't always agree. My wife Amelia, I'm pretty omnivorous. Like there really isn't any food I don't like. I've had meals I don't like. Let's be realistic. I've certainly had meals that are bad, and I've been to terrible restaurants. But there's no food I don't like. I like all of it, or certainly try everything. And I have a very wide, area of interest food-wise. But Amelia has a few things that she doesn't eat, which took me just some getting used to. Because cooking, if I couldn't put olives or mushrooms into something,
you're gonna do it.
Blue cheese on something, that would be like hard for me to figure out. Like, how am I gonna make a burger if I don't have blue cheese? Like, how are you really gonna do it right? Or how do you make a really decent pasta puttanesca, or linguine puttanesca without olives, like a lot of olives?
Yeah.
Or a mushroom, like a orecchietti pasta with mushrooms and Parmesan. I mean, these are some staples. That's hard. She just doesn't like those foods, so I had to come up with ways to cook around it. But you have a situation now where you don't have to worry about that at all. You can make finger sandwiches all day on any kind of bread you like. No one's gonna look askance.
I don't know why I was reminded of this, but I didn't make this week, but I have made it, and I think I told you about it, but I have to talk about it again because you were talking about eating anything, like no matter what.
Right? Yeah.
That somebody bought me there's a thing out here at DK Donuts, the maple bacon donut.
God. I mean,
it's really amazing, and somebody brought me a couple of them pre-pandemic. And one morning I got up and I was looking at the maple bacon donut. thinking maybe I'll have that for breakfast. And then I'm thinking, nah, donut for breakfast, that's not healthy.
It's a perfectly valid breakfast. Healthy or not, it's a valid choice for breakfast.
I felt self-conscious about having a maple bacon donut for breakfast. So do you know how I solved that situation?
You made a smoothie out of it. You blended it.
No. I thought maybe if you heat that maple bacon donut up and put a slice of cheese and a fried egg on top,
God.
then it's healthy. Then it's a healthy breakfast.
So if you triple down on all the things that are really unhealthy about it,
yeah,
then it's going to go around the other way and become healthy again.
Maple bacon donut with a slice of Swiss cheese and a fried egg. And it was one of the best things I've ever tasted in my entire life.
That sounds pretty extreme. That sounds really extreme. I love that.
Sort of like a homemade version of, the McDonald's McGriddle concept with the sausage, egg, cheese, maple in the...
You just didn't put like a pound of hash brown potatoes on it.
No.
And gravy. I really got to look for one of those. That sounds really fantastic. I mean,
Maple Dragon thinks I'm a genius, so that's good. And Peter he also says that he's had curry for breakfast.
See, breakfast is a wide open thing. It's wide open.
And Bet Bowles is reminding us that the adorable dog has a supporting role in the firm.
There is an adorable dog in it. They have a very cute dog in the movie.
But I'm curious why she's saying sorry to me, because I swipe left when somebody says traveling dog.
Yeah, you let the cat out of the bag.
Except here's the thing that's odd about me. There are some dogs that I adore.
Could you listen to the way you said that again? If you could play that back, you'd prove to yourself that you don't like dogs.
This is why I'm single, isn't it? This is why I'm single. We've discussed.
I've had less. I feel like I'm letting the food part of this show down, to be honest. I feel like I'm letting you down.
You had a tough couple of weeks.
Busy, hectic, some sad news, some hard things have happened. I've made some meals. None of them were exceptional. I did make, yesterday was Amelia's birthday. It was my wife's birthday.
Oh my God, I missed it. And, Happy birthday, Amelia.
A little late. It's too late for that. We'll do this next year. Get it right next year. I made a chicken piccata, which I'd never really made. I like that dish, but I made chicken piccata, which is very easy, but another one of those things. I don't know. I didn't think you did at home. I thought you had to order that at a restaurant for some reason, because it really does incorporate more butter than I'm usually comfortable using at any one seating.
Really? Are you shy on the butter?
I am not. I'm conscious of how much I use, because I kid myself into thinking that I do other things that are healthier than butter. But I don't know. There's an argument every which way about health, and honestly, I don't even want to mention health again on this show, because we're going to get off the track, and then we're going to get a lot of feedback from people about what diets we should be on, and right. I'm going to eat whatever I want. I know that.
Yeah.
But I made chicken piccata. Came out nice, but what is it? It's just lemon butter sauce. It's nothing fancy. I made really, really good tuna turkey sandwich today, which is oddly the thing I'm most proud of.
Well, tell me about it. It's a good turkey sandwich.
I found some. I usually like thin cut, but I found some thick cut turkey at Whole Foods. I was down there and it was on a special, so I was like, why not? Could always use turkey. So brought it home, and I had just good basic ingredients. I love sourdough bread. Sourdough is my favorite bread. I had good sourdough bread. I had some fresh romaine lettuce, and I shaved. We have a big block of real Parmesan, and I shaved thin shavings of Parm and put that on it with a little bit of little mayo and a little bit of hot sauce, and it was like just right. It was the right thing to do.
Nice.
Made me happy. I made a ramen tonight that came out pretty good. Miso, kind of a miso chicken soup ramen.
Which packet did you use?
What packet did I use? Which spice container did I shake? No, this was from scratch. Fresh corn, chicken. I made chicken the other night, a whole roast chicken, and so then I made soup stock from that. Got the meat from that. Made the soup. Added miso to it. A little bit of toasted sesame oil. Carrots, fresh garlic, and buckwheat noodles.
Oh,
not bad.
That's one of the things I most miss right now during the pandemic is ramen, because there's a lot of really good ramen and Korean. There's a lot of really good Korean here in LA. There's a great K-Town here.
Well, I bet there's phenomenal, actually, Korean food in LA. I have not. The
next time you're out here, when this craziness is over and I'm back here and you come out for a visit, you and I will go do K-Town one night. There is some crazy good food in K-Town here.
I mean, there's great Korean food in New York. It's 33rd Street?
32nd or 33rd. Yeah. Spectacular.
I mean, almost any place you go in there is great, but I would imagine the West Coast has a special vibe.
Yeah. K-Town here is huge. And there are these all-you-can-eat barbecue places where they just keep bringing.
Wow!
It's great food.
So you mentioned Korean food, and what was the other thing you said?
Ramen. I just really miss going out for ramen.
I'm like, I have a problem. I've like a ramen addiction issue because it's kind of one of the only lunches that I want to go ever eat now. Like it's about the only thing I like. And have you ever made it? No, have you ever made your own at home?
Yeah, I make those packets all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
I'm being serious with you, man. This is a hard time.
I'm being serious too. Those are the ones I make.
Take it from scratch sometime. You'll be very happy, and you'll feel like you're at a restaurant.
But with the packets, you know what I do with the packet after I make it is I make it and then I crack an egg into the pot, and
that's a good thing to do.
Yeah,
good thing to do. It keeps the flavor of those packets from really hitting you too much.
Yeah, wow. So next week, what are we?
I think we had narrowed it down to the movie Silverado.
All righty. Did
we not do that?
Yeah, we did. Do you want to give us a little preview of that so that people know what their homework is?
Silverado, for those who are interested in watching and keeping up with us, because man, does this go fast. This is some scintillating conversation. Anyway, yes, Silverado is a movie from, I'm going to say 86. We just decided to do this, so let me look it up real quick.
Silverado,
starring Kevin Costner, Jeff Goldblum, Kevin Kline, Scott Glenn. Who else is in this movie? Just Danny Glover. A ton of people are in this movie, and it's a western, kind of a comedy action western from 1985, written and directed by Lawrence Kasdan, who is famous for writing The Empire Strikes Back, and I believe Raiders of the Lost Ark, or being one of the writers on that movie, and Body Heat as well. Very interesting career this guy's had.
And wasn't this one of Costner's first big landing roles?
Yeah, I believe so.
Where he really showed up.
It was certainly. I mean, it was probably one of the first things he did on film. They were really trying to make him a big star. Like, they really were working hard on making him a big star. And you can see they thought they had a live one, and they did. It's not super early. I mean, he'd already done Fandango, which was kind of his breakout thing.
Okay.
The Big Chill.
He has an iconic moment, though. He has one really iconic moment in Silverado that I remember.
With his guns, right?
Yeah,
and how he uses them.
It's a great it's a great twist on a Western trope where he comes out of the bar. There's the trope of the guy walking into the bar through the swinging
doors. The piano player puts the glass down and closes the
right. Yeah. And they reverse it. They reverse that with him backing out. The bar is on a corner, right? So you've got a corner with the swinging saloon doors on the corner, and there's bad guys on both.
Oh, I remember, and he gets them both.
And he backs out and shoots down both streets and gets them.
That's right.
And it's a great reversal of an old trope.
Well,
standing it on its head.
Lawrence Kasdan is the right guy to do that kind of thing. You know, he's Hollywood history, and he's a walking Hollywood encyclopedia. Everything he wrote was a mashup of 100 like older movies and stuff.
Yeah,
obviously, The Empire Strikes Back and Raiders are, but Body Heat too, being all noir and stuff. So
right.
I remember seeing this in the theater when it came out. I haven't seen it since, and I was back in '85, just out of high school. I was kind of high-minded at the time, and I was watching like all these fancy foreign movies and stuff. So Silverado, I thought was a little Hollywood for me at the time. But I think I'm going to enjoy it a lot more this time because I've let go of all those pretensions. I mean, I have new ones, but all the old ones I've let go.
All right. Well, I guess we should wrap it up. So please join us next week again for Silverado.
I'll be here. I do the show. We do this every week. I'll be here. Oh, you're not talking to me.
I'm not talking. I'm talking to all those people out there in TV land. And tune in also on Mondays at 5:00 for my show, Tips and Techniques for Actors, Authors, and Storytellers. I do not know who my guest is going to be this week yet, but I promise it will be somebody spectacular. And we just talk about career and craft during that show. And who knows? Do you have any idea, Tony, as we wrap up, what you're going to cook this week?
That's a really good question. Going to see what the weather's like. If it cools down a little bit, then we can put the oven on and I can start doing some interesting stuff. There's there's an apple pie that Dad started making in an iron pan that I want to try, but I can't do it until the oven's.
Oh, a cast iron apple pie.
Mm-hmm. He hasn't told you about this.
He mentioned it. Is it an actual pie, like with a pie crust, or is it an apple brown Betty?
Okay. Well, I think that it's attempting to be a pie that resembles a brown Betty, but it's really got its origins firmly in pie, I think.
Okay.
I haven't had it. I just know he's been making it, and it looks interesting.
Okay.
That's something I want to do. And I don't know. That's my big plan. What about you?
I don't know. Apropos is going to yell at me, but I may actually try to make something in the skillet with Bisquick, where they do one of those sort of like a a shepherd's pie type thing, but topped with Bisquick instead of.
That is strange. A little bit strange. You can also use latex rubber if you run out of Bisquick. By the way,
Bisquick is not as bad as you think.
Latex is completely. You can swap them out. You wouldn't know the difference.
Have you ever had stuff made with Bisquick?
I wouldn't know. When do I don't go out? No, the answer is no. I cook home all the time.
Bisquick is pretty good. It's basically mostly just the ingredients that you would use to make biscuits with, but pre-mixed.
Into a latex form.
You know, the Bisquick people could be watching, and they may get very angry at you.
I am scared of so many things. I'm simply not scared of Bisquick.
You're not scared of Bisquick?
I'm not.
Well, don't you remember, corporate America? You remember Dr. Strangelove?
You can answer the Coca-Cola company.
You're going to answer to the Coca-Cola company. Yeah.
Come and get me, Bisquick. What can I tell you? Just try it. Let's see what the moves are.
Oh my God! Here we're in such trouble now.
So, no, I'm in trouble. You're not. You have an unruly guest on your show. It's not your responsibility, for God's sake.
An unruly guest.
So the shout out to Mom, who's probably listening and is in the car watching this on her phone.
Watching on her phone in the dark. I'm going to call her.
Mom. Yeah, if you're watching, Mom, we love you, and we hope the power comes on really soon.
Really soon. And I will be there soon cooking my brains out with you. And I love you, buddy, and I'll see you.
Love you too, man. I'll see you soon. I'll talk to you before you leave. I'll talk to you probably tomorrow.
Fantastic. All right, and thanks for joining us. Please remember to subscribe to this channel, and when you do, click the bell icon so that you get notifications of upcoming live streams. And please take a moment and like this video. And we'll see you next week for Silverado. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Good night, buddy. Good night.